The Lord shared something with me last night, and it was so encouraging to me. He has given me a little bit more today as far as passages to share with this word. He was talking to me about storing up treasure in heaven. And he's given me a few different words about this in the past. They are on my channel. If I remember, I will try to link them below. I think there's a couple of them. But I want to read, I'm trying to figure out which direction I want to go with this to make it more clear. I want to read 1 Corinthians 3:11 through 15 first. For no man can lay a foundation other than the one which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Now if any man builds upon the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, each man's work will become evident. For the day will show it, because it is to be revealed with fire. And the fire itself will test the quality of each man's work. If any man's work which he had built upon it, so built upon the foundation of Jesus Christ, if any man's work which he had built upon it remains, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work is burned up, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet as through fire. Okay, so Jesus is the foundation. Jesus is our salvation, okay? But our works determine the kind of rewards we get in heaven. And it says here that it's going to be tested with fire, the quality of our work. So Matthew 6:20 says to do not store up treasures. I'm saying this from my memory. Do not store up treasures here on earth, where rust and decay happens, but store up treasures in heaven, where essentially the treasures are imperishable. Okay, they are forever. The Lord talks about rewards in several places in His Word. He commands us to store up treasures in heaven. If we think about trying to create wealth, and there is a sense of, sometimes a sense of greed that comes along with that, like we shouldn't be so focused on money in this world. We shouldn't be so focused on trying to be wealthy. And that's what His Word says. He says, don't store up your treasures on earth. But He says, do store up your treasures in heaven. So we are to work toward getting the rewards. We are to. He commands us to. He wants us to have these rewards, okay? I'm going to read, actually I'm going to cite some of the scriptures that talk about rewards, okay? In Matthew 5, Jesus mentions rewards for being persecuted. And I didn't write down the verse. I apologize. But Jesus mentions rewards for being persecuted. Okay, so think about it this way. Each time you get made fun of for being a Christian, or for believing the way you believe, for standing on the truth of God, Each time you're ridiculed, each time you're persecuted in any way, it's like that cash register in heaven is going cha-ching, cha-ching. You're like racking up the rewards, okay? I think there is another place, and I wish I would have looked it up, but I believe that there's another place in his word that talks about we should rejoice when we're persecuted, because Jesus was persecuted, and we should rejoice that we are persecuted in the same way he was. If you start thinking about it as storing up treasures in heaven when these things happen, it's a lot easier to get through the emotional aspects of being made fun of, ridiculed, and persecuted. And I believe it is a literal reward that adds to your so-called bank account in heaven. Matthew 6, Jesus says that when you give, don't boast about it, don't do it for other people's attention, or you'll lose your reward. Okay, so he's telling us ways to handle our rewards. Matthew 16:27 says that Jesus will recompense everyone according to their deeds. Recompense means pay back according to their deeds. Proverbs 24:12 tells us that we are rewarded according to our work. Okay, same thing. We are rewarded according to our work. Okay. As I was writing down these scriptures this morning, the Lord says, tell them about the 5 crowns. So I looked up the 5 crowns, and there are 5 crowns listed in the New Testament that are listed as rewards for us. Okay, there's the imperishable crown, which is in 1 Corinthians 9. The crown of rejoicing is in 1 Thessalonians 2. The crown of righteousness in 2 Timothy 4. The crown of glory in 1 Peter 5. And the crown of life listed in Revelation 2. So all that to lay a groundwork saying that there are different rewards that we receive from the Lord according to our work. Some will receive more than others, as indicated here in 1 Corinthians 3:11 that I read at the beginning of this message. Some people will make it as through fire. They will make their salvation, but have no rewards. In the past, the Lord has given me a little bit of information about our rewards, and He's told me that some of our rewards are connected to the housing that we will have in heaven. Our mansions, our houses, our living quarters, okay? So like, I believe what he said, and I'll try to link the video, but I believe what he said was something to the effect of, like, every act of obedience adds another detail to your house in heaven. Okay, I'm going to get to what he told me last night. So with all that being said, there are rewards in heaven. It is contingent upon our works. It is different for everybody. Everybody will, not everybody will receive the same rewards in heaven. It's all contingent on what we do here on earth, okay? Storing up treasures in heaven. We're commanded to do that. Okay, so this is what he told me last night. I had posted a couple of videos to my channel, and I was sitting there on my bed thinking about the videos, and at times I have, Lord, is it okay if I share this? Okay, at times, after I post a word from the Lord, there is a feeling of, I'm trying to think of the proper word here to use. Sadness. There's a feeling of sadness that happens. I will be so excited for the word that he has given me. And I will make the video and I will post it. And after it's posted, there comes a feeling of sadness. And I'm not exactly sure what that is. I'm not sure if it's the enemy trying to discourage me or what it is. But I've seen a trend in this. It's not every time, but I've seen a trend in this. And this is how I was feeling last night. The word that he gave me to post last night was a pretty heavy word about the tests and trials to come. So I was feeling this sense of sadness. And the Lord told me, he said, don't you know that in my kingdom there is passive income? And I'm like, what? He said, in my kingdom there is passive income. And he told me that every act of obedience that we do, there's a domino effect that happens. Like, when we obey him, we kind of see it as like, okay, I've done what I need to do and that's the end of it. But no, God takes that act and he multiplies it through the earth, okay? He multiplies it to where it needs to go. And as it is like, it's like a domino effect, okay? So your act of obedience is storing up treasure in heaven. Okay, we've established that. Your act of obedience is storing up treasure in heaven. The domino effect that it has and all the good things that happens because of your act of obedience, okay? The domino effect is out of your control, and it is still passive income. We still get rewards for these good things that are happening because, okay, let me give you an example. Let's say God gives me a word to post. I post it, okay? And so that's my act of obedience. It is me storing up treasure in heaven, okay? But then someone takes that word, someone listens to it on my channel and takes that word and lets it take root in their heart. And because of it, they change some things in their life to become more holy, to be closer to God, to change their actions in some way, okay? Or even to inspire them to bless someone else. Okay, that's the domino effect. And there is still income in heaven for those things, because none of that would have happened without the original act of obedience. Okay, this kind of blew my mind last night, because I know the Lord does a lot with our works. He does a lot with our prayer. He does a lot with our fasting. He does a lot when we give. He multiplies. It's like he takes the little that we have to offer, our loaves and our fishes, okay, and he multiplies them to affect many. And every time someone is affected in a positive way, it is passive income in heaven for you. Things that we may have done several years ago are still earning passive income in heaven due to the goodness that is still being produced because of those works. This is to encourage you. You know, we don't understand the fullness of what God has in our inheritance in heaven. We don't understand the fullness. I don't understand what all the rewards are. When I think about heaven, I can't imagine that there is a money system, a banking system, you know, like I can't imagine it being that way. Because in my head, I'm thinking, oh, everything is free and everything's at peace. And, you know, I don't know. I do know that the Bible mentions jewels in heaven. It mentions mansions in heaven. Maybe rewards are things that you've always wished that you had here on earth, that the Lord grants you in heaven because of your obedience. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I have always asked him for a beautiful singing voice because I love to sing. I love to sing, and I would love to have a beautiful singing voice to praise him. And I hope that that's one of my rewards in heaven. I have kind of destroyed my voice, my singing voice, due to a few years of smoking cigarettes. But it was just mediocre to begin with anyway. Anyways, last night he said, do you not know that there is passive income in my kingdom? So take this as an encouragement. I know this is a very long video. I apologize, but you know, every little act that we do is big. Every little act that we do for him is big. I love you guys.